Hey again. So, how is everybody doing? On our end, we're doing well. We are feeling excited about this subject that we'll kind of talk about today. The purpose of sacred partnership. Um, do you guys have any idea why you want it, and what does it mean in a larger scale, right? What's God's plan? Why do we naturally feel the tendency and the desire to want sacred partnership? And so, I want to talk a little bit about that in the terms of the human experience. We first off feel that feeling of wanting, and we think it's codependency, and we think it's, attachment issues. We just need to grow a little bit, get a bit more mature and wise, and then suddenly we'll realize we don't want that. This is not at all the case. This is a desire that is implanted by the creator in all our hearts, because unity consciousness is where we come from. It's who we are. We are that unconditional love for the planet, for each other, for ourselves. Basically, we are one and the same. We come from the same source. So to desire a divine counterpart is nothing else but an expression of union, an expression of unity consciousness, and most importantly, an expression of the Christ consciousness. Is simply an expression that is taking place on earth in this time. On other planet, the Christ consciousness takes place in another form, right? But on this planet right now, this is how we are being expressed. And it's important to answer the call because it has a much, much larger purpose than just a romantic relationship.
I know for myself, I always just wanted a partner. I want to go through life. That's it. Don't want to have kids. I don't want to put my traumas on them. I don't want to put my pain on them. I was actually fearful that I'm going to damage them. And, I just like, okay, even just having a partner that I have to pour myself into is scary enough. I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to take her for granted. Don't want to use her. Don't want to, you know, don't want to be a narcissist in the relationship, and just that responsibility alone, let alone taking care of two other small beings that are innocent, have nothing wrong with them, and to do that properly, it just scared me, and I never wanted to take any part of it. And then God had His plan.
And so what we're discovering as we, have been on this journey for 8 years, but the more we're discovering that relationship, it really makes you first off own your mistakes, because when you're hurting another, you can't blame them for what they're feeling. It's your responsibility, right? That's the relationship part, is what you say matters. So when you own your relationship, when you own your responsibilities, what's happening is you're becoming a sovereign being, right? You're moving towards that sovereignty. So the relationship template is basically building us into the image of God, right? It's showing us how similar we are to our creator. So if we want a harmonious relationship, we also have to be loving all the time, right? Not triggering, not ego based. So what is that? That's removing the ego part to allow God perspective. So once again, we're becoming more like our creator. So the relationship, the secret relationship, they are built to form us around God's perspective, to embody the Christ consciousness, because we have to. By simply having another life in our field, that means there is so much at stake that if we were just alone, it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't come up.
So as you're talking, Jess, I'm just feeling the larger picture of the sacred relationship, because for me, I always thought it was just Jesse and I the whole time. That's it. We're the dynamic duo. We're gonna go about our life. We're gonna just cruise into the sunset, just us two, or no, cruise over the horizon of the earth. Over the edge there.
It's just you and I, baby.
It's just gonna be her and I. But as we went deeper into our relationship, about 4 or 5 years in, we were spending a lot of time together, going on lots of walks, being in nature, doing things, but there was an emptiness. There was like an emotional unfulfillment that was just there lingering. Didn't know what it was, trying to fill it with activities and doing things together. Nothing did it. And I never realized how important it was in our relationship to have children, to have this sense of purpose, this sense of like this call, like I used to sit around and I had so much time to myself. I could sit there and I could make a meal exactly the way I wanted to. I could sleep in. I could take a nap in the afternoon if I was tired. A new movie came out, I could just watch it that night, no problem. I could do whatever I wanted. And there was always a lingering depression in that. There was always like, I feel like there's something more to life. I just don't know what it is, and I'm trying to fill it with food, entertainment, distraction. When I was on my own, drugs, alcohol, friends, anything. I just was like, why am I battling this? Why is nothing I do emotionally fulfilling to me? And then I had some, and then I met Jess, and then we had our children, and then I've never been more busy in my whole life. I've never had more purpose in my whole life. I've never woken up with a sense of urgency and a sense of I don't have enough time in the day to do what I need to do for my family. I've never been more exhausted, more drained, but also I've never been more emotionally fulfilled with my life being with my children.
So, as you're saying, that's exactly what's happening. We don't realize that God is molding us in sacred partnership, right? He's molding us through a day-to-day task. There's so much to do because there's so much responsibility when you're in a relationship, and let alone when you have a family. And so that alone puts you in a stage where you're going to have like basically an accelerated growth, right? So you're going to have to make choices. You're going to have to like go fast in your growth, because the children don't wait, the partner doesn't wait. There are needs at stake, right? There is, there is right away, if you talk with ego, there is a reaction on the spot. You can't linger and sit around and just wait for another 10 years to pass. Hopefully you get it. It's a basically it's a pressure cooker, but that's the accelerated growth. That's what it does. It brings you to a state of alignment a lot faster.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna go right off that line. So that's the beauty of that. I never knew a family offered me. It was an opportunity to become a better man, a more responsible man, a responsible father, a responsible person in life. When I was by myself, having to care for myself, responsibility was the last thing on my mind. Wasn't going to care for nobody. It was very narcissistic. But being with my children, being with Jess, really, my children have given me the opportunity to get out of my own shit, because I love them so much and I don't want to hurt them. And if I'm neglecting them physically, emotionally, if I'm neglecting their mother, if I'm not emotionally present, if I'm have my addictions, if I'm focused on making money, or
They suffer.
the family suffers. And to see my children suffer because of me, because of my own perceptions and thoughts, really allows me, because for me, I will not change if it's just for me. I'll stay in addiction, distraction all day, and I will stay in my depression. No.
Well, let's face it, we always going to go towards comfort and least resistance. So he's not going to move.
So me seeing my family actually being in pain because of my actions, because of my choices, because of my train of thought, because of the lack of work that I've done on myself, really pushes me into being able to go into that pain, be able to be honest with myself, and what's really keeping me between the connection I need with them.
And so this is how God kind of forces the expansion, right? Forces the change. And as we're looking at the larger picture, you can see that God wants to basically, instead of having us being manipulated by the media or darker forces or negative thoughts, we are being available for God to move us through that partnership, right? So we're emptying our cup, we're healing, we're understanding, we're changing the perspective, but all of that is ultimately for God to be able to move himself through us, right? He wants to have his way. So when we get to that stage of he's having his way, this is when he can insert his will, right? In creating his kingdom, in creating heaven on earth. But we have to be available to him. And many times the sacred partnership will create that opportunity to be available to him.
What do you mean by available? You mean wanting something more than just living the life that you've been living?
Available in the sense that you are forced to shed all the things that are not serving the family or the partner or that love that you feel, because when you shed, this is where you're available, you're emptying your cup,
And
right?
I've seen like my family, my father and everything, nobody was available still, even though that they had me as children and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, what
That's why we're talking about sacred partnership, because only the sacred partnership has the power to bring that out of you. And why is that? Why is it that it's the sacred partnership and not just any relationship? And the reason is because it is chosen by God for this mission, both partners are basically embedded or ordained to clean that up. So they will bring up a lot of crap and karma and a lot of things that are negative, but they cannot quit. And that polarity between not being able to quit and let go of the partner with all the karma that there is, this is the perfect scenario where you start shedding, you start releasing all the pains and the past and everything. So in another regular relationship where the other partner is not ordained to act that way, they have another role in your life, they won't be able to shed because they are not attached. There's no attachment. So they will quit, but they will really quit, and that's it. But when someone quits on you, there is no opportunity to shed anything. There's no growth, right? Because you're being released to move on in another relationship.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of a sacred relationship. That person will never quit on you. It's unconditional. If anyone knows or has experienced a relationship where no matter what, no matter how much pride, no matter how much ego, no matter how much she did to me, she hurt me, she used me, she fill in the blank.
Yeah.
No matter what, you're gonna love her no matter what. No matter what, you guys are gonna be together and you're gonna push through it. And as I talk about that, that's the beauty of God's will and how he's gonna manifest heaven on earth. He's put love is the answer, love is the way. It's the highest form and it goes on top of everything. And of course, God himself is gonna fight the dark forces. Like let's just be honest, there's a lot of dark energy on earth, there's a lot of bad things happening. And of course, to save ourselves, we're gonna have to use love. You don't fight fire with fire. We're fighting fire with love here, and it's in the sacred union where all is transformed, and we can actually experience the bliss and the happiness, the emotional fulfillment that we've been looking for, the heaven on earth that God has promised us.
Yes, absolutely. So the larger purpose would be really to bring us back to God, to act like God, to perceive like God perceives, right? So if we have his eyes, if we have his mind, if we have his thoughts, if we have his heart, what do you think is going to happen? So whenever we give birth to children after this partnership, right? After having this foundation established, those children are birthed through this new consciousness, God's consciousness, and they will only know God's love. They won't be in touch with anything else. Of course, they will see the world around, but they have a solid foundation in themselves because that's where they grew up. That's where the conditioning is.
And this is why it's so important to be in that sacred relationship, the one that God has chosen for you. Because if you're in a relationship for pride, for ego, because this person's good looking, this person has money,
or because you feel like you're in pain and you want someone to fill up that cup for you,
as soon as times get tough, as soon as push comes to shove, the person's going to bail on you or you're going to bail on them. There's no love there to actually keep you glued together, to keep you in the relationship, to transform what you need to transform in yourself. You're not going to push yourself. I know for myself, I had many girlfriends before Jess, and I didn't change one bit. If I hurt them or I used them or anything like
they
that,
should change for you to remain.
they would have to change. I would need them to fit my lifestyle. And oh, I hurt you. I'm sorry, but that's that's for you to carry. I am who I am. But this is the importance of it. The love. So God exists in everybody, and he exists in the love we have inside of ourselves. But we need to find that sacred partner to access God's love for them, to let the love inside ourselves
Access.
like I had inside my chest my whole life. I was with these girls before Jess. I didn't love them. I did not want to move, didn't want to transform. I didn't, if I hurt them, too bad, but when it came to her, when it came to Jess, when I started hurting her, when my narcissism, when she expressed how she was in pain, she was hurt by the things I was doing, it went above me. My love went above, it started to control me. I started to want to change instantly. I'd never wanted to do that my whole life. So this is the importance of making sure you're in that sacred relationship, because you're never going to get out of your sadness and depression. I guarantee it, until you find the right partner and access God inside you, access that love, that will transform you and your family's life.
Absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful. And so let's talk about what sacred partnership are really in the higher realms, right? Sacred partnership is basically two souls that have been traveling for a very long time, from life to life to life to life, and they have a larger mission since a while ago. It's not just in every life that they agree to finish one thing, right? So they have a mission together, and they travel from life to life to life to accomplish that mission. So they target the same goal, they target the same mission, and but to get to meet in a lifetime where the mission is manifested, this is where it takes many lives to get there. And so when they finally meet, that's where the connection is felt, right? You feel that connection because that's the contract that you're feeling. That's the traveling of many, many, many lives that we're feeling. That's the agreement, right? So this is a strong connection because the mission in itself is strong. And for the mission to be strong, the souls have to be intertwined. They have to be the same essence because they carry the same mission. They have the same goals, right? And they're very complementary to one another. So all of that plays a lot in our connection with others. And that's how many times we can recognize the sacred partner. And I can tell you, it's not a big boom. It's not like, oh my God, I got butterfly in my stomach. Quite the opposite.
Yeah.
It's a connection that is really deep in the soul, but is not a sexual obsession, is nothing actually sexual. It's very heart-centered. It's very much in the heart.
Yeah, so I want to talk about when Jesse and I first met. I first met her, and I actually had a girlfriend at the time of 2 years. And I saw Jesse, I was not attracted to her. I was in a totally different,
And you were in a relationship.
blonde hair, blue eyes. That's not into the stereotypical looks. But there was a calling. I was so fascinated by her. I just was not attracted, didn't want to be with her as
a romantic partner.
Yeah, in the romantic sense. But there was something in my chest. I'm like, can we talk? Can we hang out? Do you want to have a little lunch together? We met at a fruit festival, so you eat food together and stuff like that. So it wasn't like I was asking her on a date with another girlfriend or anything. But something inside you will tell you that you have to be with this person. And
that was the soul right there.
And then the love itself develops from there. It starts like it's kind of like a bottle, and you uncork it and it just starts coming out, and you start to explore it, and then it starts to develop, and you start changing yourself, and your perspective starts on changing. All of a sudden, stuff you were doing didn't matter anymore. I was a professional YouTuber at the time, and I just didn't want to make videos anymore. I just wanted to get to know her, talk with her, go for walks. Just wanted to explore this relationship, even though I didn't know what it was or have any idea where it was going.
So the intensity of that connection is because it's carries a whole mission in itself. It's not just about you two meeting and getting married and ta-da. It's not that. It has a whole mission, right? And that's why it's so important. That's why the connection is more powerful than even your free will with your ego, right? So, and the mission is always to open up the path on earth for new earth to come in, right? We want a new earth, but how can earth ascend if we're not ourselves ascending, right? So it's important that we ascend first, then earth ascends, and then what happens? Earth becomes available for new human beings, which we call children, right? So children comes many times from that partnership. So once you have cleaned yourself, once you have restored your perspective, once you have aligned with your highest truth, then there is the calling for family. And that too, it is not just sexual, it's actually a calling for the mission, for earth to have new human beings with a new consciousness.
For the new generation, like who's going to carry the torch after us? But in order for them to carry the torch with an open, loving heart, we're going to have to heal ourselves first. And that's why this is so important, that we need to be in the sacred relationship, because only in the sacred relationship that you actually heal yourself through her unconditional love for you and his unconditional love for you. That's the only space where you're going to be able to transform the deepest, darkest pains, or even have the courage to go into the pain and the trauma that we've lived as children, as adults, and be able to clean ourselves to be able to love our children and nurture them for who they are, and we'll let them develop into the people that they are authentically, and not, oh, I gotta please my father, so I gotta become him.
Yeah.
I gotta please my
So
mother.
yeah, so God wants to basically be available. He wants those children to be available to his command, right? Which is their own truth, right? It's their authentic expression. So they will be listening and they would be approving and validating that this voice is real and actually is their only reality. So we want to start a new race, right? Uh a new a new consciousness that is running in humans, to the point where those humans do not understand the old consciousness.
Basically, a new dimension. There's lots of
It's
dimensions on
literally
Earth.
a portal. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to open a portal on earth through sacred partnership. So it, our message here is, do not deny that calling for sacred partnership. It is huge. It holds a lot of it, it's so important for the future of this earth to answer that call. And that's why we mentor a lot of people that have that call, because we understand the mission. We understand, if it doesn't happen, what happens to earth, what happens to humans as well.
And we've been through so much pain, depression, sadness in our relationship. We've had to transform ourselves in such profound ways to become the people that we are now, to become the loving beings that we have for one another. Mostly me changing. She's been amazing the whole time. On it, honestly,
Sure.
a beacon of light, a beacon of light to carry me home. No joke there. But we do offer free calls to anybody who does want to connect with us. If anyone's watching this now or wants to is watching the replay, you can add me as a friend on Facebook and talk more about parenting. And we just want to build a community, that a community of conscious parents who want to do best by their children and better themselves for the children, for the new race, for the new earth that's coming in right now.
Jason Beckler.
Looking
Hi.
looking forward to that connection. I've moved beyond the sexual relationship, waiting patiently for the inner connection that will last beyond this lifetime.
Absolutely.
And only when you are ready for that relationship, it will come to you. If you're still satisfied in the relationship that you've chosen from pride and ego, you'll never run into the right person. Just like I said in my story, when I met Jess, I was just ready for this. The relationship I was in was not satisfying to me. And once we got together, and I was ready, I saw her, I knew I had to connect with her, and it wasn't even about sex. We didn't have sex for a long time after we got together. It was not about that, which
Not at all.
in all the relationships I had before that, it was like fast as possible.
That's basically one of the reasons why you want a person, right?
Yeah. So, and that's the beauty of the sacred relationship. All of a sudden, there's emotional fulfillment that you get out of it, and it's not just trying to fulfill these needs to hide ourselves away from our pain and trauma and everything.
And
we're going kind of long, Jess, so let's kind of wrap this
yeah,
up.
so I do want to say, whenever you feel ready to have that sacred partnership coming into your life, you have done a big journey already of your life, karmically speaking. You've reached to a point where you no longer want to survive your pain, but you really want to get down to really emotional fulfillment. You want emotional fulfillment. And that's many times where they walk into our lives, not because we're perfect and we've healed, because you're ready to heal. You're ready to face yourself. That's the only path for emotional fulfillment.
And I want to tell you right now, for the man with experience, there is no emotional fulfillment you will ever get unless you follow your heart and align yourself with the sacred relationship that God has chosen for you. You can be with the most beautiful girl, the most beautiful man, have all the money in the world, have all the addiction, distraction, entertainment you want. Whenever you close the door and you put your head on your pillow, the depression will be there. So if you're ready to be honest with yourself and you're ready to go through the fire, so to speak, because it's hard. It's the road less traveled, and that's why everybody just stays in their comfy bubble. But if you're ready to push through, there's heaven on the other side if we're ready to go through the fire.
Absolutely.
So thank you everybody for showing up. Add us as a friend on Facebook. We'll talk more and connect. And
we'll send a link if you ever want to chat, talk, be heard, understood. We offer, like we said, a 30-minute call, a free call, and that's it. And then you can feel it out for yourself and see if you want to continue.
Yeah, if you resonate with these live streams, we're going to try and do them every day. So yeah, if you as a friend, you can get notified, and then we can talk more on the next live stream. All right, thank you everybody for showing up. It was good. You good, Jess?
Bye.
All right, see you everybody.